Good morning and welcome to another Speak Out Live London.
Soul Breakfast on the Box.
Oh, today we have a great show for you. Interesting and inspiring to say the least. My name is Dawn.
And my name is Joyce.
Today we are joined by the famous James B, aka Buzzin B, editor, radio programmer and presenter on SLR Radio. Welcome to you. We have Lyndon Walters, successful outreach worker and author, The Taste of Champagne Urge. Mr. Robin Travis, my favourite man, an accomplished author of Prisoner to the Streets, Mama Can't Raise No Man, an advocate for young people. And we have Nathan, active member of gang, but we will talk about that later because it's not gang as in gang. But you're also an inspirational speaker. Welcome to the show. Welcome all of you.
James, we'll start with you. You have been a very successful radio program producer and presenter on SLR. How did you get into presenting, and how long have you been on the radio?
It's quite an interesting story because I'm also an educator. I teach as well. So I remember that the presenter on it was called the 100% Spa show, Star, Sonia Shishi asked me to come in and do to cover the current affairs section, of the program. So because I also did the after school program in terms of upskilling children who wants to do better in GCSEs or the case may be. So what do I said I already can't do it on a Monday because that's when I'm doing the after school club. And she said to me, and what I would do, I would cut out pieces from the paper and I would go in the phone box just before I take a break from the after school club, and I would go in the phone box and I would do my reporting from there. Wow. I would call in the station, and sometimes you get the obligatory bus kicking in all the noise, and I said to the listeners, you have to excuse me, and I thought it gave it some sort of authenticity.
Absolutely.
Yeah, rather than being staged. So I would do the reporting from there, and then I would go on to do, my lessons. But one day, the presenter had to go away on a business trip, and she said, "Well, Mr. B, do you mind
stepping in?"
You were stepping in. I said, "Okay." I said, "Okay." So I went in the studio, and it hasn't, and I haven't looked back since. That was about 10 years ago.
We do know that you have many great attributes.
Yeah.
Your programs, your radio programs, are usually interactive with great topics, and what I wanted to know, which is what this program is about today. Have you addressed a topic with black on black crime and drugs within our community? Because those are the things that are happening. That's what we are trying to highlight today, and how we can help our communities. But do you get interesting calls? If you've had a topic, do you get great people calling in, answers? Do you get young people joining in as well? And what are their views?
Yeah, I do get, funny enough that you should say that, because I think it's quite prevalent in the media now.
Yes.
And I don't necessarily subscribe to the term black on black, because I think that when we do that, I think it reinforces the idea that it actually exists. So I tend to stay clear from that. However, I do cover issues because there are challenges there and there are things that are happening. But I prefer to get people who can give me a insight rather than me trying to project my experience on it. I think Robin, to my right, is a great example of that, because working with him, I was able to get a pretty good perspective on that. Mm-hmm. And I do get a lot of young people, because I love to get it from their perspective. So I do get a lot of young people who come in. It's quite, interactive.
Do you find that a challenge in regards to, if with them airing their views? Because we know what's happening in our community. We can't, turn or close our eyes to what's happening. And obviously, it's getting worse. We all are trying to do something, yeah? So when you have the young people calling in, what is their response? How do they take it?
Just 2 weeks ago, I had two young people in the studio, who they're two young ladies who are 14 years old, still in school, and they're involved in projects in the community. They've even started a group for women, girls, their sides, but to look at issues and how they can work together as well. And they were also highlighting some of the challenges that has to do with what's happening in the violence on the street and how they felt in terms of some of their vulnerability. And sometimes they said that they're just reacting. Sometimes it's not what they want to be, but if the situation presents itself in a direct way, then you're given a little choice, but to respond in a certain way. So they represent to me that it is not as easy as quite often that is portrayed, and even the way the media projects it, that quite often it is often misrepresented.
True. We now come to your educational provision, and you do a lot of tutoring around that, and I do know that. Do you get a strong attendance from our community?
Yeah, I would say that about 90% comes from.
That's brilliant.
From the African and Caribbean community, and I think that was more active choice of mine.
Yeah, I was just about to say, was that purposely?
That was an active choice because when I look at the provisions in the schools and parents would always be complaining about the lack of the support within the school, and even the schools have got mechanisms in there that is meant to address children who are falling back per se, but those provisions weren't necessarily dealing with the education, because I realized that it was a little more complex than just someone teaching them by rote or the curriculum. There were wider issues to do with culture, with self-esteem, with knowing who they are, because I think all of that lends itself to learning.
And then for them coming and seeing a black tutor, do you think that made it easier for them?
I think from my experience, they felt much more relaxed, and certainly from the perspective of the parents, more so the excitement from the parents and the confidence that the parents had in myself, that I could be somehow transformative, even though I didn't use that word myself. But certainly, what I got from a lot of the children, they would say to me, "Why can't you come to our school? Can you be my teacher? Why do you come to the school?"
So it's a private tutor, and it's not. You do private tutoring. It's not that you're.
And also in the schools.
You go into the schools as well. That is fantastic. That is absolutely brilliant.
So that is where I fit in. But I think from that perspective, I think it gives them a degree of confidence, because they know that I'm not here to judge them. I'm more here to empower them. I'm here to listen and to upskill them and to give them that motivation.
What's the ages from to?
It could be from, because I've got it could be from year 5 up to year 11. I've got one who she's just got a management position, and she still contacts me now. I was teaching her from year 7.
You now run a successful project of your own, the African Storytelling and Spoken Word Showcase. Firstly, what was the inspiration behind that?
First of all, it wasn't actually my brainchild. It was the brainchild of Shola Story, who is an African storyteller. So he came to me and said, "I've got this project, and how can you assist me and stuff?" So with that, I negotiated a free space for him, so that kept us going, because we did get a lot of support from the black businesses with the good graces of Uptown Cuisine. Jeffrey, he gave us a space free for the last 10 months until he had to move, so he didn't charge us nothing, not a penny. So with that, we were able to, with the admissions at the door and other sponsorships, we were able to sustain ourselves until we, for 1 year, until we now moved to a new location. The whole idea behind it's called the Rebirth of the Griot.
That's right.
It is to sustain the African origin of performance, which was storytelling, and the griot. The griot represented music, news. It was like a traveling newspaper. So you have it in the calypso, and you can hear them criticizing the government or talking about events that are happening in the community. So you get it in reggae music, and all kind of art forms that is represented now in the Western context. So we were looking at trying to keep that art form alive, and we've had some international performers since. We even had American rapper who visited and the show in October. Yeah, he was on tour, so yeah, it's gone quite well. And the celebrations went quite well. Yeah.
Well, you know you have our full support. We'll be there. Mr. Robin Travis, lovely to have you on our show today. Thank you very much for coming. We're actually honoured. Joyce and I, we're honoured to have you here today. And you've just pointed out your two books there, Prisoner to the Streets, which was your first book, and Mama Can't Raise No Man. And I just love that title and the book, by the way. But can I ask you, did your personal life's experience influence your writing?
Can I just start on what's real? The two men on each side of me have played a massive part in not only they're more responsible for this book than I am. Just in Lyndon as well in getting me to pressure me to write a book. I wasn't going to write a book. So my journey is a bit different from probably everyone else's in this field. I didn't want to be a writer and I didn't want to tell my story. But people like the Mental Farmer Lyndon, Buzzing Bee, Neville Watson, there's a whole heap of people. I never really read a book until I wrote a book. I was sentenced for a crime and I ended up in a place, and after that experience I came out to get on with my life, and long story short, Lyndon's one of the people I met along that journey, and he kept pressing on how important it was that I talked on the stuff that I'd been through. And nothing's by chance or coincidence. I call it God incidents. Everyone's got their own personal beliefs, but I don't think God made that happen by accident.
Absolutely.
And it was a wrestle with me and Lyndon for years. We had that conversation in 2007. Me and James didn't start editing that book till 2011. So that's the indication of how much I didn't want to tell my story.
You have a BA in criminology and youth justice. Was this something you always wanted to do, or was it purposely studied to help and support the young people, especially, I have to say, our young black people?
But the reason why I wrote Prisoner to the Streets explains what we are going through mentally. If we accept the term gang members knowing our history, then we're crazy. We've gone bonkers. We know about Bloods and Crips, how Edgar Hoover put crack cocaine and heroin there. So okay, Bloods and Crips are gang members, but I don't take ownership. Lyndon taught me about ownership, owning your behaviors. Being responsible for your behaviors and owning your behaviors. I own that I've stabbed and I've done some things with other weapons, and I own all the dirt I've done. And that's what makes it hard for me to be on camera and talk about my past, because I don't want to live in it. However, I'm not an ex-gang member. I went to university, studied youth justice criminology, not to learn more, but to find out how I could better contribute in the youth field, because I didn't want to write a book. So I put off of Lyndon pushing me to write a book, and I said, nah, forget all that, I can do youth work. I'd rather do it than talk about it. At the time I was doing youth work in my own area, Holly Street, just come out of jail from Jamaica. So I'm not even healed myself, and I'm trying to help other people as well as get in a position to provide for my family. And I dedicated myself to unions, people like James who helped me with some of my assignments, because I'm not very academic. So in this sense, the village helped me through. But the point I'm trying to make is that the purpose was simple, the mission was simple, and it's been overlooked. I've been praised as an author, I love that. But what I've done here is Einstein level, and people haven't figured it out yet. And that's why there's a tremble in my voice when I talk. That's why there's a lot of weight lost from me, because I've been drained out. I've explained Prisoner to the Street is a concept which decriminalizes the black man. If you take it on board. It's a concept which makes people challenge their own philosophies. All these youth workers or all these people on the platform who talk of being either ex-gang members, which gives you mad media platform, or be a victim of knife crime, or lose a child to life crime. You will get heard. However, write a philosophy which explains that it's not about losing a child to knife crime, because there's a victim on both sides of that story, if you care to listen. That's why I said we're prisoners to the streets. In prison, someone will kill you, not because they want to kill you, because if they don't defend themselves to the fullest in that environment, and they don't take you out, the onlookers looking in that environment, they're going to look at him like he ain't got the heart to do that, not like you need heart to kill. But they look at you like that, and you know you have to behave a certain way in this prison. So when I say prisoner to the street, it's not a fancy title. It's the explanation for a mindset of a country who claims they want solutions to knife crime and youth crime, two things I don't believe in. When I left university, I was asked the question, what did you learn from studying youth justice and criminology? There's no justice in judging the youth as criminal. Let's get rid of youth crime. Let's distinguish knife crime. Let's distinguish that gang word. Why? Because as a black man, you never hear me say the word N, even if I was a rapper. But each to their own, because some of us can't understand that though we think we're past a certain stage in life. I heard just last night an Irishman call a black man monkey, and I was this close to getting involved. It's only I found out that the black man was wrong in the argument, and my friend who just came in here was holding me back saying, well, don't get involved in that one. We are so, me included, when I say we, and I hope people catch that, because when you talk in your voice, they think you're a judge. No, we are so far behind in terms of being honest that we can never be woken if we're not honest first. And Prison to the Street is an honest look of the streets. It's not someone saying, yeah, I got stabbed and this happened, and making it so you sensationalize your own experience. I know people who have gone on camera said that they're the biggest gangsters in London, and they ran when I got stabbed. No, they're in the field, and there's so much. That's why I don't like talking on camera, because my loose lips sink ships, and I am a person, I'm so passionate, I don't need to be on camera. I don't need to be in the front eye. I'm too honest.
I totally agree with you, and I thank you so much for your honesty, and thank you for being here.
When something's bigger than you, you can't take your ego out of the way. My ego's telling me, drop the pen. Stop talking, because you've got these clowns in the audience who will come to my book launch next month and actually praise me, thinking that I think I'm the Messiah. I have a powerful message and it needs to be heard, but I'm not above the message. I'm in line with the learn. I'm still learning. I'm still a prisoner to the street begging for my freedom. Touch me outside on the road and see what happens to you, but then you'll hear the whole world say, look at this guy. Look at him. He's messed up again. He's meant to be a role model. Fire for your role model. Keep your role. I'm not Christ. I'm not trying to I'm not that guy. I'm human. I'm flesh. I'm creation. So I'll end it here with this question. This is why I hope the whole world hears this, and for you I'll come out on camera and talk. In that book I've stated that I'm friends with everyone that stabbed me, everyone that I've stabbed. Why does that message never get heard? Why is it that they'll perpetuate everyone who claims to be a victim of knife crime? Everyone I know, by the way, I'll just mention this, who's claimed to be a victim of knife crime, they're lying. They were all on the street with me. Facts. But you don't want to put the guy who's cool with all of his enemies and give that platform. But you lot already know that we're cool. You want to call me as an ex-gang member? Fire for gang word. There's a saying, and I'll leave it here. I read it the other day. Martin Luther King's quote. Those who don't have an understanding of a subject who talk in it, basically those people who get the platforms, and you don't know what you're talking about, you are more dangerous than that person with ill will. Because what you're doing is you're a false teacher.
You have a third book in the pipeline. James is the editor, and you also have Lyndon involved with the book. Can you give us a brief synopsis or a title without giving anything away?
Freedom from the Streets.
Wow.
Is an explanation to Prisoner to the Streets.
Okay.
Everybody heard about Mama Can't Raise No Man, and we always hear people talking about, well, the problem is this, and the problem is there's no fathers. Well, I gave you part one to explain the problem. Part two was to explain the lack of the family structure. Part three is the answer to part one, so it's a trilogy. Freedom from the Streets will explain how I met Lyndon, James, and everyone, and explain why I didn't want to take this mantle. Freedom from the Streets will explain to everyone in the field who thinks that they're doing constructive work to make a difference. I'm calling out everybody in a positive way. I don't want war with gang for saying how I feel. I don't want gang with Manhood Academy for saying how I feel. I don't want war with none of these people. I'm just saying, roll with a real brother. I'm trying to explain to you the mindset. I don't want the platforms. I'm not in battle with you. But understand, none of you lot have the solution to the streets, because you lot all think it's criminal. Think about that. It's not criminal minded. If it's not criminal minded, stop calling it youth crime. If it's not criminal minded, stop having prison. So freedom from the streets in a nutshell is me finally saying, people, I've answered your questions for 7 years. A lot of you haven't figured it out. If I keep answering your questions, I'm going to have a mental breakdown and go crazy, because you're trying to not hear what I'm saying. So best I just leave the book with Freedom from the Streets. take it, feel personal about it if you want, that's your business, or leave it and enhance on it, build upon it, and you do the work that I'm now too tired to do. I'll train other people to do the workshops. They continue to work in my absence. I'm not here to argue with people. I'm not a politician. I don't care that you don't like me. I don't like you either. I'm from the street. We can go in the ring. That's my mentality. But in terms of how you feel, understand that if we're working together, we don't need to be arguing over anything. We need to be hearing each other's thing with a grown-up mind and sharing whether we agree or disagree. And freedom from the streets hopefully frees me from all the stuff I've been through with the help of blessings like yourself and these guys.
It's going to be the platform for that.
God willing.
Exactly.
God willing.
We're honoured.
I'm honoured also. I'm honoured. Oh, I'm sorry to finish. I'm honoured also. You let me to understand what you do for me while you hear me talk with this tremble in my voice. I'm really from the street. Furthermore, I'm really from a house first. I really ended up in the street. I really was lost in the street. I really was brainwashed. I've really done things that I can't get out of my head. Makes me look at myself as less of a person. So what I'm saying is, when you give me this platform, look, forget me as the writer. God's given me the gift. I'm not nothing special. That's why I keep pushing it away when people say you're humble. I'm not humble. God created me. I didn't create this. I followed through with it. I didn't create this. I'm mere me. I'm just me. So it's not being humble because it looks cool, it looks good. No, I know I didn't manufacture this. I know my friends are dead. So it's an honor to be here from black people who show me that love and give me that open space to be myself. So thank you guys. And thank you, James.
And we will look forward to your third book, and hopefully you will be launching that here live. Everyone, listen here live. I've said it first.
October.
There you go, October, with us first. Yep, Soul Breakfast on the box.
Welcome, Lyndon. Just want to ask you, what was your inspiration and agenda for your project, Building Schools in Home? Can you just elaborate a bit more about it?
Oh, you've heard the program. Thank you very much.
We do our research.
Yes. Yeah, well, thank you for asking that question. I've done 50 years. This is my 51st year of outreach work. I've had careers, but I also know I've been given a second opportunity to continue with my purpose and mission on this planet. And that's all I'm striving for. I'm totally blinkered, totally focused on what I need to do.
What is that mission?
The mission has always been the same. It's to give young people a platform. Because nobody else wants to give them a platform. Even some parents don't give them a platform. To ask their consultancy. They're big consultants, children. You make anything you like, music, whatever, and you say, listen to this, and they go, yeah, you know it's no good, throw it out. They get enthusiastic, and they say, yeah, I'd like to add this to it, and so forth. Bang, you're in. So my whole purpose is that I have been given, in my little community in Trenchtown, a lot of platform. A lot of say. This little mouth never did stop. Even in the days when they said children should be seen and not heard, this child was heard by the whole community. And in the end, they come to me and say, well, you know, Miss Gladys, this little boy is different. And that did it free up the other youths then, because now everybody, as I said, because I'm now saying, well, what about that youth over there? Me and him talk about this the other day, and what's going on? And then people start to free up their own children now and realize that the European bully can be defeated. But you have to use a strategy. Anyone who thinks they can buck the system will buck themselves out. You understand? This is what you call a mistake. It's not a mistake, it's a MIS-take. Yeah? So my philosophies help me, because I get this philosophy in my head and I go for it. So the program I'm doing now on Galaxy Radio, it's called the Black Experience, the Black Experience Research. Everything for me is a research. Being here is a research. Do you see? And so what I've done is decided that, not knocking any host or presenter, but I'm always going to be different. My approach is different. I sat back and I thought, well, if I was a child And all I kept hearing is that there is only 1 month in the calendar year of 12 months. Is that's the only month I'm important. Then
Ridiculous.
something is wrong.
Ridiculous.
And personally, I know I'm black, African, Nubian, whatever you want to call me.
Black History Month.
To me, it's crazy. It's just crazy. And it is another weapon that's being used in our mentality so that we, 1 out of 12 is minor. It's inferior.
Absolutely.
The ratio is 11 to 1. So what makes me want to accept that? Not I. Yeah? So I've designed this program and formatted it in a particular way. And very quickly, what I've done is now I have info gems. As you know, gems are things people start to look forward to having. And info gem does this. All black, African, Nubian, call it what you will, inventors and innovators is what I research and give. Yes, so we give like 1 per program, and then we reinforce that with schoolyard rap.
Okay.
Black made this,
Interesting.
black made that. And they also are getting feeding
positive.
from there
Yeah.
about inventors and innovators who are black.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's like 15 minutes of the first hour. The second 15 minutes is about the STEM system. STEM, science, technology, engineering, and maths. And I bring to them eminent blacks. That's astounding from the past, middle, and now.
And what's the sort of reactions?
Oh, the reaction has been more than I could even have. I don't do hope because hope is a hopeless place to be. It has no destination. But I don't do hope. But what I'm saying is the immediacy and the comments had me stunned. People are listening now as families. And that's exactly what I wanted in the first place. That's what I set out to do. So when somebody phoned up and says, my 8-year-old wants to talk to you, I was like, I almost jumped out the seat. You see? In fact, I did jump. But, but of course, that was my aim. And to see it happening like immediately, I could only thank the universe. You see? So, yes, these great individuals, they weren't fighting with swords and guns and knives and drugs. They weren't necessarily prisoners to the streets. These were high creative individuals, like some of the prisoners on the streets. And that's my thing about the street theater, because it's all a big act. You hear me? It is bravado extraordinaire. You could do bravado 1, bravado 150, bravado 1,000. You are going to get this because the children are bored. They've been misappropriated. Their psychology has been demented and debased, and they feel no self-worth. Okay? It's okay. You can always, as a coach, because I coach, you can always have someone who's got low confidence. It's easy. You can even help someone who's got low esteem. That's easy. But the hardest bit for me as a coach is raising somebody who feels that they're less than and lower than a snake's belly to the ground. That's low self-worth. And so my passion is about research. My purpose is to bring this research to the fore. And my mission will only be complete when I move over to the spiritual world from a human perspective. But I'll still be working over there.
Another question, Lyndon. You're also a great author, and we've got your book on our display, The Taste of Champagne Urge. Could you just briefly tell us about how you come about writing it, and how long did it take you to write that book?
Well, I can see you've not visited my book website yet, because on that website there is 8 minutes and 35 seconds of interview done back in October 2016 with a big hitter from the big country, the Rotten Apple. Okay, that's it. But Stu Taylor, this man only deals with business people and politicians. So we're talking Washington, D.C. But I had to pay a lot of money, well, invest a lot of money. That's fine, because I know it's going to be reaping. I've set the root. Stu Taylor he was stunned when he asked me the same question you just asked and the same answer I'm going to give you. I have no idea how long it took, because I'm not that type of a writer. I do not belong to the Common Sense Club. See, I'm from the
Common Sense Club. I don't think a lot of us do.
So I'm obviously of the Uncommon Sense Club, or Uncommon Sense creativity. It's not a club. Yes, we all have creativity. Some use more and some use the logical sequence, which is a straight line. So linear thinkers never think laterally. You can't blame them. But if I use just one part of my body more than I use the other one, one's going to grow muscles, you know, and the other one going to look like this one, see? So right now it's the brain. The brain, people don't get it that the brain, although it's an organ, it's a muscle. And if you work it properly, you can get what is termed as neuroplasticity. Now it's a big word, but it's a simple little project. So as you look at a brain, or a picture of a brain, you see little ridges, and they're very narrow. Well, you can make it broader by all of this. And so my book, I thought, how can I teach, you know, people about behaviors, as Robin quite rightly said. My philosophy says this: we do not own our behaviors, but we are responsible for them. It's always very simple. I don't do complications.
Absolutely.
And once we've accepted that, we've now got to strategize beyond the European brain, beyond Neanderthal, caveman, and woman. Because I never see a cave picture with a man pulling a woman by her hair and it was locks. It could have cut him hand. You see? So I don't want no part or lot of that, and I do not come to buck my head on the wall and knock myself out, okay? So what I did, I decided to find a way of getting across my philosophies through scenarios. What I did was, I said, okay, what's the best way to do this? Okay, this is Earth we live on, one planet. If I invented another planet, by the way, it's called Asteroidea, okay? And it runs parallel to Earth, they'll never meet. Ah, wonderful, like a railway line. Bam, but what else must I do? I must infiltrate the mentality of the people on Asteroidea. And so to do that, I just simply uploaded Earth's behaviors. Let them live it.
It's writing, because I've read the book and it's absolutely phenomenal. I remember when I was reading it and I read bits in it, and then when I turned the page, I went, and I had to go back to, you know, it was a hard read to begin with.
Yeah.
But as I kind of got into it,
Yeah.
it got a lot more easier.
Yeah.
And I got to understand the author. That's the most important thing from the book. Will you continue writing? Is there going to be another book for yourself?
Well, first of all, let me say this. Robin's laughing because he knows. When I wrote The Taste of Champagne Urge, I wrote 9 books consecutively.
Okay.
That's the only way I can do it. I don't know any other way.
You didn't have those published. Did you?
No, it's not ready yet.
Okay.
See,
right. They're in the pipeline.
They're part of a series. There are 4 or 5 books which is in one series, but each book is complete in its own right.
Okay.
I borrow, you know, a scenery here and a scenery there, an individual there, character there, and put it in the other book. And so that's the continuity line. But if I could just say this quickly, so I've uploaded that, and I send Emeritus and other scientists up there. And they're taking notes of the consequences of these behaviors. And in the end, they send it, beam it back to Earth. You know, like you see Scotty disappearing, yeah? Yeah, beam me up, Scotty, well, beam me down, Scotty. Yeah, the consequences are beamed down to Earth for restorative learning.
Beautiful. That is fantastic. I just love how you ended that. Thank you very much, Lyndon. Thank you. We're now going to come to Mr. Nathan Palmer. Thank you very much for joining us. And at the beginning, I said an active member of gang, but not gang in the sense of the word gang, because it is not street related. What is the meaning of your word, gang?
Gang, the acronyms of the movement is guiding a new generation. So it's all about just being role models, because none of us, as other members have said, it's like we can only show our little brothers what we know and how we're living. And to be honest, how we are living is no better than how you're living. So it's just being able to relate. And right now, there's a big gap. What we've noticed is a big gap within the youth and the elders. And situations like this is what's needed, just because there's elders that the youths just walking past, got no manners for, and they don't even understand that these are the guys that are willing to give you the belly, everything that you think, So that's the main crux of the movement.
So how are you getting your message across?
To be honest, it's very, as I said, I'm very active. So we would just go to an estate, just turn up 5 man deep and just go and start talking to the youths, go and sit down, buy a bottle of water, cups, some juice, and just sit down and start talking to them. It's very uncomfortable, it's very awkward, it's very tense, but that's the only way we can really break ice with them. And what I've realized, the youths of today, they're not of yesterday's generation. They're actually very scared. They're living in fear. Back in our days, the youths that you saw on road, quote unquote, chose that life in a sense, or they had a certain mentality that they knew what they were getting themselves into. Whereas these youths now, they don't know. They're doing a whole heap of foolishness, snitching on themselves. It's just, it's completely nonsense. And so we're finding that our approach is actually working, whereas I don't think it would have worked.
Whereabouts do you go when you?
We all over London, all over London. Yeah. So to be honest, last year we did a campaign where we were doing ride outs, where we were literally going north, south, east, and west, just creating as much noise as possible, locking down the roads, shutting off traffic and things like that, just to show the community that we have the power. We are actually the ones that demand the power here.
It's because you do inspirational talks at the Hyde Park as well, don't you? Or was that just a one-off?
No, to be honest, there's members that go to Speaker's Corner that literally speak. How Gang was actually created was actually at Speaker's Corner, because what happened is there's people that speak at Speaker's Corner, a few of our members, black men of different backgrounds, some Hebrew Israelites, Rasta, different, and what we realized is they were never getting heard. They're always being shut down and pushed away by certain other groups. So it was kind of formed like, we need our community to kind of come and protect our conversation. Let's kind of formulate that. So within that being formulated, it was a lot of youth that came to protect it, kind of thing. And then the general conversation amongst the group was, what are we really doing in our community? It's all good coming to Hyde Park, Speaker's Corner, cameras and rare, but what are we actually going to do for our community? Who's willing and able, kind of thing. And that's where the conversation kind of got to. And then, Gang got formed during that kind of conversation where meetings were taking place, and then brothers would just literally link up and start taking care of work, which would consist of going to an area. If something was to happen, go to an area, find some sort of contact or family and friends. That's the main thing. So get to know mum, get to know best friend. Fantastic. So we're in there. Keep contact, keep communication, and it's not because as I said, we're role models. So the most that man can do is realistically take your numbers, contact you every week, make sure you're good. You need this, you need that. Go and link a man every now and again, and just be genuine, because we ain't got everything to offer. So we just offer as much as we can. Like right now, it's very beautiful, because like I can go throughout the city, and I'll be held up by a bag of different youths that I have no idea who you are, but you've seen me. I've been like networking with your friend or something along them lines, and it's just like you can see me with a completely different energy, and yeah, it's grown.
And what's the response like from?
It's beautiful. Like it's literally beautiful. Yeah, like now.
They sit there and they want to listen and they're learning and.
Because what it is, it's like we break the ice, and then elders. Because what, for example, a Hackney situation, a young brother died in Hackney recently. We went to Hackney, and the issue with these youths are quote unquote a nuisance in the area because they're just hanging around the block, and no one's engaging with them. The adults don't know how to engage with them. That's really and truly what it is, because they ain't got a problem with them.
They
being
need
there.
Lyndon.
Yeah, because they don't know how to conversate with them. So when the youth died, we kind of opened that energy, so the elders that are around them can actually now talk to them. And now when we're going through them, because we've built that link, we pass through every now and again. It's hello auntie, it's hello uncle, it's that natural village respect that you're supposed to see. But it's like it's just little things, and little things that can make the biggest difference. Yes. And what I found is like with my movement especially, it's not about the lights, the glitz, the glamour and the camera. It's just about people with heart, that real heart that's just willing to go and talk to a little brother. And yeah, you might diss you, he might look you up and down and give you that sly shoulder, but we all grew up like that. So you just handle your own and open doors, and yeah, it's very beautiful.
You're doing some great work, and it's so nice sitting here, the ages, all the different ages, but yet still we're all doing the same thing. So we know it can work. It just needs us to become a community, to support one another on the journey. And to keep it real, like you've all said. I am, again, truly, I mean, this has been a really great show, and we do have to wrap up now, but one question, and just one answer from all of you. If you were all to put your message across to young people today, what would your messages be? Just one.
I don't know what I'd say to them. I still feel like I'm in that category myself.
Yeah, but just continue doing the work that you're doing.
Yeah, I don't know what I could tell to a youth now. That's really gonna be that. That's more for the elder. I feel that will come with experience in this field.
But you still are working towards that. You are that's what you're doing. So it all matters. Lyndon?
I would just simply ask them if they knew exactly who they really are. What about identity? Because that's the aim of my program. It opens with the Diamonds' beautiful song, Where Did We Lose Our Identity? And I'm identity focused. We must be of the African mind. We must know that we're Africans no matter where on the planet. But they just need the backstory. See, they need the backstory. If we can get the backstory to them, I think they will figure it out for themselves.
That's like a foundation. Like a foundation. Mr. Travis.
I think it's what I've been saying in Prison to the Street partly, that we're not gang members, this isn't knife crime. Don't feed into what the older generation have told you about your truth. And even on the flip side to that, we tend to say we need to ask the youths what the problems and the solutions are. I'm a parent to 5 children. I'm not being funny. My son's 15. I'm not going to ask him why he's flexing the way he flexes, because I've already been through it. But he might give me an answer what he thinks is correct, and he's not at that level of wisdom to understand. So my message to the young people would be, in terms of not just Prison to the Street, but partially in terms of the book, it would be take wisdom away from, look at things. And to Brother Natty, to everyone, look at everything we're doing, because you said someone said we're doing the same things. I've written my next book to say I'm not doing the same thing as most people in this field, because they want to not listen to what I'm saying, as if to say I want to be right. I don't want to be right. Some things are reactive, what we're doing in the community, going to the block and all that. It's good, but then when gang leave, I know the kid who got killed in Hackney, I know the kid who killed him. I've talked to both of them, broke up a fight between those 2 kids. I want solutions. And the only way we reach solutions, if when we are talking, we respect and love what everyone's intentions are. Like I said, Martin Luther King said the intentions are great. We're not knocking you for your intention. We need your intention. We need you to stand up and have an opinion. But it's always good, and I'll say this to the younger people, I'm a youngest brother. When someone's giving you advice and they're trying to talk to you and show you something, that means they care. The second they stop talking, they don't care no more. So my message is the younger people, listen when people talk, because I'm tired of talking already. And that goes to the older generation too. Start listening.
Thank you so much.
I mean, as a person who give young people the benefit of my experience and my knowledge, to my tuition, through my radio program, to mentoring or making them see a better way of doing things. I mean, I would say, I think my answer quite mirrors what Robin said, that it's not a question of just asking the young people what they think about it, because like Robin, I have engagement with young people, and I always begin my class by saying, we're in this together.
Yeah.
I said,
Yeah.
learning is a shared experience. It's not that I'm here sitting here as the purveyor of all knowledge and I know everything. I want to know what you think. It just so happened that I've got the greater experience. So I can benefit from that. I can guide you. The family can guide you. And I said to the young person, maybe you can help me to understand where you are. Because I said
you're talking to them rather than
because I said to young
down.
people, I said the difference. Because one young person said, but you don't know where we are. I said, I used to be young. You are.
I think they forget that, don't they? I said, we used to be young.
I said, I wasn't born this age. I said, you forget. I said, I've got one advantage over you. They said, no, what is that? I said, well, I've been where you've been, but you can never be
where.
Wow.
So
that is marvelous.
If you're able to marry those together, then I think we are.
Thank you so much. That is a brilliant note to leave it on. I've got to say to you, thanks to all of you. Sorry.
Did something, and I need to say one thing. It's just based on the role model thing. Sorry, James, you triggered or something in me. Role model. This is one thing I want to say to the children. Don't emulate. People don't try to emulate somebody, is what I'm saying. So my biggest message to the young, and I say it to my son who's 15, even though I'm doing what I'm doing, I'm a boxer, I do this, I say, don't do me, be you. And when you be you, I can support you in what you do. Don't try to model my role. All you need to know is the things that I'm saying are not good for you, like the things I've been involved in on the streets. You can't and won't do them because you have to deal with me. But on another side, totally different to that, don't feel like you have to live up to my
standard
expectations.
Expectations.
You've got the same surname, you have to write 10 books. No, forget that. Be you.
I was at South Bank Uni some years ago, and it came to fruition that I stood up when they used the word role model, and everybody looked at me. And my daughter, who was studying there, she think, gosh, Dad's gonna hit them with it. And I did. I said, okay, Professor so-and-so and da-da-da, Dr. so-and-so, can you just answer 2 questions to me? Which model fits which role? Which role is suitable for the model? I've given myself.
On that note, absolutely fantastic. I want to thank you all for coming on the show. I hope you, the viewers, you found this show absolutely inspiring, empowering and motivating, because I know I did. What do you say, Joyce? Fantastic. Thank you also. But before you go, we have a gift for you. So, can we have Vanya? No? Yes? Well done. Welcome to Vanya, a member of our crew. There's a gift for you all. And I just hope you all remember coming on Speak Out Live London on the very first show.
You have to remember
the very first show.
It's on the box.
So before we go, I want to thank all the viewers for watching and listening. Thank you to Nathan, thank you to Lyndon, thank you to Robin, and thank you very much, Mr. Buzzin' B. Before we go, we have Janaya singing Rise Up by Andra Day. Thank you for watching Breakfast on the Box. Remain blessed Until next time.
Welcome